Hey, good evening, everyone. John Henry Soto here, along with George Batista, as always, and welcome to Counterparts. And we're very excited tonight. We have Dedee Pfeiffer is going to be on the show, so please hang on, hang tight, get your questions ready if you have any, and come on back. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Very excited tonight. George, I'm going to just turn it right over to you because I know you're going to do a little intro and then we'll just get started with the conversation.
Absolutely. So today, folks, we've got Dedee Pfeiffer with us. Now, Dedee is known for playing many roles in the film and television industry, such as playing Cybill's daughter, Rachel, on the sitcom Cybill from 95 to 97. She also played Sherry on the sitcom For Your Love. That was 98 to 2002, and also in a film appearance as Val in The All-Nighter, 1987. So she's also known for guest appearances on several other sitcoms such as Wings, Ellen, Seinfeld, and Friends. In 2020, after a 10-year hiatus, Pfeiffer returned to acting and is currently playing the role of Denise Brisbane in the ABC drama thriller series Big Sky. And John, I know you are as excited as I am to have her on the show today.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, George. Let's just, you know me, I'll start like yapping.
Yes, we don't need you to be talking. Let her talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Dedee Pfeiffer.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate this so much. George and I have been blessed by being able to talk to such great guests and being able to kind of find out the ins and outs of the industry and also the challenges that go with it, and just a lot of different experiences. You know, I'm going to turn over to George so you can ask our first question, and we'll just get started. And if you have anything, you jump in, tell us to shut up. Sometimes I'll go off a little bit on something, but I try to keep it chilled out.
Yes, yeah, you have to understand. I grew up with this guy. Him and I are cousins, and
right.
I could never shut him up as kids, so we still go through that. So it's ridiculous.
Do you talk to my sisters and brothers? My nickname is Chatty Cathy growing up.
Oh, really?
Okay, like, yeah,
yes,
Mia. So we're all good.
Yes,
nice.
Yes, this is fantastic. Thank you. We're gonna get along just fine.
Absolutely. So let's go back a little bit. Let's start off. I mean, I know you started acting at a young age. You know, I think actually you started around 1982, if I'm correct, right?
82. I was 18.
18, right, exactly. And I know you had
school. Yeah, I'm 78. Been doing it. I got like 4 decades. When did that happen? Right.
Yeah.
Started when I was 18 and studied for 2 years. Really, is what happened. Because I just couldn't figure out what the heck I was doing. I was so bad. I had no even trying to get an agent or an interview. I just studied with one of the best coaches at the time, Peggy Fury and Bill Traylor, just trying to figure out how to do it through my painful shyness and everything else. Really
it's hard to believe.
I know my family's like, well, no, yeah, exactly. Over here. It's weird. Like, I think some people might understand it's like in certain situations, I'm chatty as ever and I just can't stop. And then other times I get really like clammed up and shy and I turn red and I stutter and forget, literally have brain farts. Like I can't remember what I was saying. Happened all week in all these other interviews. Right in the middle of a thought went.
Oh no.
So I was going on for like 10 minutes.
Right.
I got in my own way, is what happened.
Right.
Did you do any theater early on?
I did do two theater gigs. One was in a little theater called The Lex. It had like, I think 20 seats. And I was never more scared in my life.
Yes.
Petrified. And I just remember when it was my cue to come out, it's only 20 people. I think maybe 15 showed up, most family and friends. But I still was so scared that live thing I used to cut, go again. And I remember when it was my cue, this little voice said, turn around, run out the back door, jump in the red Volkswagen, and just head back to Hollywood. Don't look back. And this is before page, phones or anything. No one can get a hold of you. Just don't look back. It was scary.
Yeah.
It was really scary. And then
this was back in the time when you could actually disappear and hide.
We didn't have. I think before pagers
or GPS or anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to disappear, you could disappear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. So you mentioned earlier, like the decades. Where did it go? The other day I was talking to somebody and they were talking about Nirvana, and I was like, 20 years ago, and they're like, no, it's 30 years, and I was like, no, it's not 30 years ago.
Is it 30?
30 years ago.
Amazing.
And I was like, wait a minute, it can't be right. I literally had to stop and take a deep breath. I was like,
John, what is happening? What's going on? George, what?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm feeling it. I can tell you that. I'm feeling it.
I know. My personality does not match my body anymore. There's like a disconnect going on, and my doctor told me that. I'm like, why do I wake up and I'm sore here? And he's like, well, you jumping out of bed before stretching. I'm like, I never do that. He said, honey.
Yeah.
Sweetie.
Oh, yeah.
And he looked at me. I said, are you trying to say that my body doesn't match my personality anymore? And he said, that's a really good way to put it. I said, well, I don't like that answer.
I don't like that. I don't want you to agree to that.
Arthritis of the what?
During the beginning, those early, when you had the, studying and trying to figure it out, did you run into any barriers? By barriers, I mean like actual people that were maybe discouraging you, or you ran into an agent or a manager? Exactly. Yeah, those.
It was a completely different industry back then in the 80s when I started. It was, actors were the only ones acting. No celebrities, no musicians, actors. You went to school, you were trained. And the real actors did theater, and the second best real actors did feature films. And then everybody else did TV. And not everyone else was just auditioning, you were unemployed and waiting tables, right? So there was this literally hierarchy at the time. And then all of a sudden, celebrities and athletes and musicians started acting, kind of shaking things up. And then the rules were off, game was off. And then TV people were doing movies, movie people were doing TV.
Yeah.
Everybody started doing commercials, which is also a no-no back then.
Right.
And the playing field changed completely. Then reality TV came in. And then that we were like, oh my God, we're all going to do it. And then women's roles changed. There used to be a time where there was a lot of money thrown at a lot of like they would, I don't know how many produced pilots. They would film the entire pilot. Everyone got paid a lot of money, and they would pick up maybe a handful, right?
Wow.
Now they just don't even do that anymore. So there's like less work in that way. There's pilot presentations, which is like half the money, but you're still doing all the work. And I've seen a lot of change. And even now I'm on Big Sky, and I was like, oh, you can't change any lines, not one word, because, network, they'll ride your ass. You can't do that. Da, da, da. And all these other actors are like, huh, when was the last time? What?
Oh, that's interesting.
They were like, I thought Dedee Pfeiffer was a veteran. I go, oh, I am. I took off for 10 years is the problem.
Right.
Again. Yeah. And then they were kind of improvising a little bit. Never did that on TV when I was doing it. Like you couldn't change one word. Now you can throw in little handles and switch it up a little bit. Yeah.
Wow. So it's really changed a lot. Did you ever think of like not doing it? Like, did you ever get to the point where you decided I'm going to stop? I know you took 10 years.
All the time.
All the time.
Every single time I said, I'm out. I'm out.
This is it. This is the last one.
And then an interview would come through. I'm like, this is just the last one. This is it. This is it. And I'd get it. I'm like, well, but I had to really get to the point where I'd had it fed up with the politics. The reason why people were getting roles wasn't always because you were the right one for the role. It became this whole thing. And then, honestly, I think what happened to me, which one of the reasons why I took off 10 years ago to take a break, was when I was paying the babysitter more money to take care of my two boys. I'm a single mom. Than I was making on this independent film, rolling around in manure because I couldn't afford dirt.
Right.
And I was like, what am I? There's something that doesn't make sense. And I was only doing it because I needed the health benefits for my children, right?
Okay.
And pay my rent and what have you. And I have a lot of rescued animals they like to eat too. So, and then I started seeing a lot of social issues going on in the world really bothersome. And although I did a lot of volunteering my entire life, I started to feel like this might be a good time to take a big fat pause and go help in a different way. So I thought I'd go get one of those things called a degree. Not a clue what I was doing. Remember, I graduated in 2. No, nothing. So I just thought I'd go grab one of those real quick. And so I just walked up to a community college going, hi, I want to help people. They're like, what degree do you want? I'm like, I don't know, you tell me. I just want to help people. They're like, that's not the way it works, ma'am.
There's no help people degree?
Like, I just want to help people. And he was like, a psych degree? I said, sure, okay, that works. What do I do? And he just threw me in a child development class.
Cool.
Yeah, and I started, and I did not have a clue what I was doing. And then they did an assessment. Before that, they did an assessment, and I did not even assess into 5th grade. Try 2nd grade. Like, I literally had to do a ton of prerequisites
Wow.
get to the AA because I didn't know algebra. I didn't know what a thesis statement was. I did not know how to properly read anything to be able to extract the information. I did not. Yeah, like 2 + X = 5. I thought that was a typo.
I mean, it's not.
I said, I need the. They're like, it's called algebra, ma'am. I'm like,
where's the whiteout?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a typo. You need an H. Did you forget the little loop on the top?
Right.
No, it's an X. I'm like, oh God. And then they told me to write like a paragraph or whatever about some, I guess a prompt is what you call it.
Right.
I wrote 2 pages nonstop, no periods, no commas.
Oh no!
And I had an attitude
Holy cow.
opinion.
A run-in tantrum.
Topic, but they're like, it has not a clue of how to write. I'm like, well, I know how to talk. And they're like, that's different than writing. So I had a lot of prerequisites just to get to the
degree part.
Yeah, so it was a journey. And I had a learning disability I discovered along the way. And it was quite a journey. It was not easy. Yeah.
Wow. It seems like there's a story there in itself.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you mentioned earlier all the different ways that the industry changed as far as things were kind of like mixing in now. And today there seems to be just this big melting pot, and it's almost doing like a Netflix show or an ABC show, it's kind of a big deal now. And I think, and I don't know if, what's your opinion on this, but it seems like we're in the golden age of television again, because a lot of shows in the last 10 years are really good. Like TV shows, are really written well. They're really well thought out. They're what are your thoughts on that?
I think that that's correct. I think that sometimes you have to get lost before you're found, and sometimes it kind of ran away with reality and it kind of got off. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Coming back, we embraced it because we didn't realize, hey, wait a minute, that wasn't so bad. We kind of enjoyed those scripted shows, right? And unscripted, it's still out there. You can find plenty of that as well. But it's kind of nice to go back to scripted, and then writers and all those who like to truly entertain. Get a job, right? Because that's what it is, right? It's entertaining when you're playing a role, and the wardrobes you, and the makeup puts the makeup on, and the hair puts the wig on you, and that's part of kind of what it used to be. We lost it a little bit. Now we're coming back. What I've noticed is totally different? I took off like it's over 10 years ago, came back, and now social media is the thing.
Yeah.
Like if you have a ton of followers, you will get a gig over a seasoned actor with awards. Yeah. And I said, oh, that's just a load of nuh-uh. And I go, I don't believe that. And they're like, oh, good lucky. Because I didn't even do social media until I got on Big Sky, where they asked me to promote the show. So I was like, oh. And my sons are like, don't let my mom get on social media. And I was like, you can't put your soapbox like all those other actors. I said, honey, I do that behind closed doors, okay? And with you. So I only got Instagram. I don't do anything else because I wouldn't. Right. I can barely do Instagram. But and I'm slowly getting these followers that are finding me organically, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't buy them or all that stuff. So I have like 7,000 as of yesterday. I was so excited.
Wow.
Nice. Catherine on the show, she's got like 1.5 billion.
Right.
And they're like, my son said to me, I go, guys, mommy has 7,000 followers. They're like, and Shelley has more. That's my sister Michelle. I was like, zip it, zipper. So, but they're I guess the truth to your marketability.
Right.
Getting hired.
Yeah.
If you've got a shit load of
But
people
it's true though, because John and I are musicians, right? And we were talking about, we did a show in the past about music, and we did like how artists now are getting discovered, and a good majority of the artists are getting discovered through TikTok and Instagram and all these things, versus how we used to be when they actually went out and they looked at them and they signed them and did that whole thing.
Whiskey a Go-Go, or
Right, exactly.
you would go
Correct.
or little
Right.
holes downtown. I saw
Right.
that smoke down there, and bam, hello, bye bye. Yeah,
Right.
that's where they were discovered. Was in a little hole downtown Los Angeles. And I
Wow.
But
Wow.
yeah, now
Yeah.
you don't even have to leave your living room. It's just that's a little odd to me because, like you guys, I'm old school.
Yeah.
I still write my scripts out by hand. People like learn their lines on their phones. I'm like, huh? I just
that I can't do. Yeah.
can't really read my texts, let alone anything else on my phone. And and I have the big font, so it's still not working. My glasses, too. But it's funny because when you're growing old in this new time we're in, I always try to tell my boys there's room for all of us. There's room for all of us.
Right.
I'm not going to become you. You're not going to become me. And there's things you're going to learn from me, and there's things I definitely learn from you guys. But I think to throw the baby out with the bathwater is always a dangerous thing. All or nothing thinking, which, hello, I'm in recovery. Can you tell? People listening to me, they're like, oh, she is so in recovery. Get in your own lane. Get in my own way. These are all recovery things. But, so, yeah, there's, I don't know. It's like blending the old together somehow.
Right.
But it's not easy. I have to say, I'm still trying to figure out the Instagram thing.
But when you think about it,
I'm Big Sky, and then I can't really go wrong, right?
Right. Exactly. That's all.
There you go.
Get mad at me. One of my sons won't let me follow him.
Oh wow.
He used to follow me.
They're unblocked.
Isn't that cool, man? No. Moms don't follow their sons. I said, I have friends who said, well, they're not cool. And I said, oh, well, I want to stay cool.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But you have to also think about the casting process, the casting directors, and when they have the ability to now look at 20 or 30 actresses or actors or even dancers are now getting gigs through Instagram, because you're able to put a monologue on there. You're able to consistently, you can connect with them. You can follow those.
Yeah.
So there is this, it's sort of like what you said earlier. There is now, the playing field sort of has been leveled to a point where now people can actually get into the game. Now, at the end of the day, you got to be good, right? You're not going to get on Big Sky because you have a million followers, right? You have to be actually talented.
I didn't even have one follower. I didn't have any.
Right. That's my point. That what happens.
How to find Instagram? Where do you find that? They're like,
right.
Find it. It's an app. What's an app? Oh Jesus!
It's in the back of the newspaper. Just
you looking yellow pages for that.
Right. Exactly. So I think it's actually sometimes can be positive thing, for some performers, But again, you got to be good, because that's where you can have a million followers and get up there, but then somebody's going to look at you and be like, wow, you know what? You have a lot of followers, but you're really not that good. And I've seen that happen too.
Yeah.
And that's a worse place to be than to have 7,000 followers. Trust me, and be on Big Sky.
The little checks or the dots or whatever. I don't know what that is.
the blue check mark.
Yeah, it says it authenticates you or something.
It's verification.
Yeah. Jesse James Cartel on the show, and everybody on the show's like, Dedee, you need to get authenticated. What's it called? And I said, how do you do that? So of course Jesse grabs my phone and she says, oh, do this, and I said, okay. And then it bounces back saying, sorry, we can't give it to you because you're not who you are. So I've tried 4 times, and they keep saying I'm not Dedee Pfeiffer. I'm like, how do you think I am?
Oh no!
I sent you the thing from ABC, Dedee Pfeiffer first one cast in Big Sky promo thing in the register, whatever on Instagram.
Yeah.
I sent you who I am, and go, I am Dedee. I've been known for 40 years. Sorry, ma'am, we can't give you the little dot because you know who you are. And this is where I go,
you might have to call them at some point.
But they're like telling me how I am. I'm like, I know what? And I'm like, wait, maybe I'm not her. Maybe I'm an imposter.
Well, you might have to call them. I actually work in social media. That's my actually gig. So I do that for companies. And a lot of times when you're trying to,
it's me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what you can do, I could help you actually. What you can do is you can call them, and there are other ways that you can actually go about it. But yeah,
It seems to
I'll
bother
message
my
you.
friends more than me. And
Right.
it bothers them that I don't have like 50, 100,000 followers because I've been doing it for 40 years. And I'm like, in time, grasshopper. In
Right.
time. Mama just started all this craziness.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll come
Exactly.
organically, and that to me would be the best way, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things that I admire about you is that you're not too big for any role. From what I've seen, you will take a role, whatever the role is, you know, because you appreciate what you're doing. You appreciate the craft that you're in, and also you appreciate how really difficult it is, right? Like John said, you got to be good, right? And think about how many actors out there are trying to make it versus how many actors actually are on a show, or, you know, like yourself or that type of thing. So
Consistently on shows.
consistently, exactly.
Working.
And so what's your mindset when it comes to that?
First of all, thank you so much for the compliment. That's so sweet. It means a lot. I was taught really well younger that by Roy London said there's no such thing as a small role.
Right.
There are small actors.
Yes.
And you should be able to take the alphabet or the phone book and make it sexy or hot or villainous or whatever, right? If you are coming from a place of your artistry, your skill sets, and your approach and your passion for character and story and all of that. So when you think of it from that perspective, then the bigness of the project is irrelevant, right? The bigness of the role is irrelevant. This is why I love Big Sky. I'm in every episode, but Denise is not in there a lot. But you know what I get a lot? My followers, we want to see more of Denise. And
There you go.
I don't have a choice of how much I'm in Big Sky. I don't like cut myself in or out of the editing room, and I don't write the roles, right? Or the scenes. But there's something kind of nice about going in, taking the role by the you-know-whats, shaking it up, having fun with it. Bam! Now go put it together in the film and have fun, right?
Yeah,
and then you go away and do it again. And you don't have the pressure of the lead. Being leads are there's a lot of pressure to keep interesting in every scene and keep the thing going. But when you come in, it's kind of that one person who comes into a party and they're like, yeah, and then you're like, oh my God, where'd they go? I like that guy. Where did he go?
Right.
Oh, he just left. You're like, which party did he go to? I'm gonna go follow him. Right. I think it starts with the work and the why you're doing it. And I love to entertain. So that's what that is, right? And again, when I did, oh no, hold on, guys. My computer's. How many times has this happened? Okay.
You got to plug it in. Almost lost you.
Wow. Okay, that would have been really embarrassing. Okay, not as embarrassing as this.
Flashing battery.
Oh, there we go. Hi, I'm back.
Hey.
I'm gonna have like one of those. I forgot what I was saying.
Talk about how much you love the work and
why you're doing it.
And why you're doing it.
And that's why people say, oh, I want to do films, I want to do big films. And I say, well, hold on. If you really want to be an actor, you need to start in theater. I did not do that because we didn't have a lot of theater in Los Angeles. But I studied for 2 years in one of the best workshops. And I worked at a female oil and mud wrestling joint illegally as a cocktail waitress to pay for these expensive classes. You know? I had no ride, and guys goosing me, and I never got in the pit. It's okay. But this is what we did because I was going to learn how to do this thing that I was so bad at. My dad called me a hardhead, so I just wouldn't give up until I could figure it out. And 40 years later, I'm still trying to figure it out. Because that's the most important thing. You can never lose your curiosity.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
Resistance, curiosity. Look at the difference of your perspective. And once you think you have all the answers, okay, look at that. Bye-bye. As long as you're constantly curious, and by the way, that goes hand in hand with sobriety or any kind of recovery. If you're curious about life, and then you're curious about what you're doing in your career, you're always going to find new things and maybe reinvent old ones. Maybe sharpen up something you're already
Right.
really good at. Just kind of your toolbox is what I call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Your toolbox has got like some new ones in there, some old ones in there, and everything in between. Because I think that some people, and I found there was a point in my life where I was like this, where I wasn't sure what my purpose was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this friend of mine named Kevin Hunter, he writes these books in spiritual. He's amazing. If you want to follow him on Instagram. And he said something the other day on Instagram, and it blew my mind. So simple. If you don't know what your purpose is, find your passion.
Absolutely.
Because your passion will find your purpose.
Correct.
There
You
you
can find
go.
it that way. But don't be discouraged if you go, why am I here? What am I doing? Why bother waking up this morning? No, that's okay. Find your passion then, and it will drive you to your purpose.
Exactly.
And I thought, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a really good tool to put in my toolbox.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
And I love sharing that because I think that those are little, I call them little zingers.
Yeah, I love those. You know, life is amazing, right? I mean, life is beautiful. And the fact that we're able to storytell, to help, to influence people and to try to maybe shift viewpoints or at least give someone another way of looking at something. And I think that that's like such a huge thing in filmmaking. And I'm kind of grateful in a sense that we had that reality TV nonsense happen for so many years, because I think what you said is correct. Actors realize, man, you know what? We love telling stories, and writers are like, we haven't written in so long because there's no writing in these things. They're
An
basically like,
old-fashioned story.
you walk in and you yell at her.
Right.
Yeah, it's
A
just craziness.
story
But
that you get lost in.
right,
You can just
exactly.
check out for a minute, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's a wonderful thing that that passion, that you really need to have and find. When you find your passion, you find your life, and I love that. I love
Because
that.
life without a purpose, you're just existing.
Correct.
Right.
And those are hours and days you'll never get back again.
Right. Exactly.
Sometimes that's part of the journey too, is kind of being just waking up every day and going to sleep going, what the hell am I doing? What's this all about?
Right.
And it's like, I just have to say, that's okay. It's all right. Just fine. Discover your passion. And that means trying a whole bunch of different things until one goes, oh, that turns me on. I love music.
Yeah.
Or I love, I don't know, numbers, accounting. I don't know. I mean, whatever it is.
Yeah, why not? You love math and music.
Yeah, actually, my older son is amazing with math.
Oh, wow.
And he accidentally just I got him an organ that was broken. My friend was going to throw it out. And I said, hold on. I got two boys that are going to break it anyway. So let me have it. So I fixed it with some wire because the wire's on the foot. And he started playing. He was really young.
Wow. Wow. Awesome.
By ear.
That's great.
Classical music.
Oh, wow.
On point.
Wow.
Like, well, I'm tone deaf. So I was like, what the? All because I grabbed a broken organ or whatever those things are in someone's garage before they tossed it out. I said, give it to me because I'm not going to buy something new for my boys because they're just going to trash it anyways. And sure enough, they both took piano lessons. Braxton is this prodigy. We don't know where that came from. And then Maximus, the music thing didn't work out for him, but he forges. He likes to make forge and fire. That's my other son. He makes the muskets knives that are gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
He can make himself a shank if he gets arrested. That's me. That's what I say to my son. He's like, it's not a shank. It's a knife.
Not a shank.
His first knife was a shank until I got him like welding lessons. It wasn't. Back on the show, when I get my stuff out of storage, when I get back to LA, I tell you it's a shank. It's a good one.
Yeah. Wow. One of the things that you mentioned before, and I think it's so true regarding like your toolbox, your passions and stuff like that. And a lot of that is also, John and I have talked about, and one of the things that we talk about on this show is the personal development side of it. Always learning, always looking at the things that you can improve upon, every day. Whether it's reading those books, listening to those tapes and stuff like that. As musicians, we did it because not only did we want to be better as our craft, but we just wanted to be overall better with, spiritually, physically, all that type of stuff. Yeah. So, and that also as artists, because we're all artists here, right? That's all part of it, right? That's all that, and that kind of blends together with the passion and with everything else to make you to make you as great as you are at your craft, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Personal development is such a lost thing sometimes where you
Yes.
hear, like you see they're going to class, they're studying their scripts, they're going to class, but I'm like, well, what are you doing? I'm a filmmaker, so I've talked to a lot of actors and a lot of directors, and the ones that are really thriving are the ones that are able to sit down and read something that's going to fulfill something. They ask questions, they watch, they take webinars, they go to seminars, all these things, because they're constantly improving that side, that creative side, so they can then pass that along onto their craft.
Right.
So I think that that's such a huge thing.
I agree. And this is a great segue into something that I think you guys probably may or may not talk about, but it's certainly I will bring up in all of my interviews, whether I'm plugging Big Sky or not, which is Thursday night, ABC, 10 o'clock plug. There you go. That keeps me boys. That keeps me. Shameless, I know. That when something is kind of going off, it could also be an addiction that is not being addressed or mental health issues. Right?
Yes.
And we often don't talk about it, and it's certainly not addressed a lot, and families don't know how to approach the person who's struggling. But all those things that you talked about, doing for yourself and discovery and being curious and finding your passion and your purpose, often get stunted, clogged, or awry when there's something else going on, that the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. Right. I had to, it was a big one for me. I'm no different than anybody else who struggled with addiction. My drug of choice happened to be alcohol and cigarettes, but that does not, my friends are meth heads, crack heads, food addiction, sex addiction, an addict's an addict, right? Bottom line is, if you're doing something that's not making your life, not helping you be a healthy, happy person, it might be something you want to look at. And also, mental health and addiction, they tango really well. They're like peanut butter and jelly, and they're often misunderstood as the other.
Right.
Super important to understand the difference between the two, because there's treatment for each of them. Very difficult to treat both at the same time, unless you go to someone like Kathleen Murphy. She's one of the few who actually addresses both trauma and addiction. She brings a lot of different modalities together, like a little patchwork, which I love. Because not one thing is going to work for one person. Sorry. That's just, I was at UCLA and they were trying to tell me that. And I'm like, no. CBD, DPT, all these, modalities for mental health would work for certain people, but not everybody. So it's so important to come to where they're at. Right. But I'm here to say, I want to talk about it, not necessarily in the show, but in general, that if I can just say, hey, I'm in recovery, this July, 3 or 4 years. Oh no, 4 years, 4 years. And 3 years. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm brain 58, and all of a sudden, I'm telling you, the personality doesn't match the brain anymore. It was a long time, but not long enough like others. And the relapse is still always there. Every day, it's sitting right there. It's always
sure.
But I like the idea that I'm going to take my recovery, share it with people, and say, you're not alone, man, out there.
Absolutely.
That's powerful.
You I'm talking to, but you might have someone who you know is struggling.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. We run into, again, being in the industry and the last couple of years, you run into people that they don't, even if they're not artists, but I think artists kind of have another layer of something, because now they have to confront being looked at constantly and being judged and that's like another layer. But there's a lot of people that just don't really confront their own demons, and they just go by their day, like what they call a functional alcoholic. They're not.
Oh, I was a high functioning alcoholic. That's why I was surprised when I went to rehab in my 50s, going through menopause.
Wow.
Not sexy. Right in the middle of finishing my master's at UCLA. Bam, took a year off. Had to get my butt sober. Because if I didn't, eventually I was just going to die like most people. It just was not going to turn out great. And I hit what looked like my bottom. Everyone's bottom is different.
Sure.
People say, what happened? I said, are you kidding me? I had a whole bunch of bottoms. I bottomed out every time I drank too much, every time I couldn't remember what I did or said the next day, every time I had to go to apologize to somebody, every time I was bawling by myself. Every time, those were all bottoms, but for whatever reason in my 50s, and my family was hugely supportive.
Good.
And they came to me and they said, we'd like to do an intervention. We'd like you to come on Thursday. This was a Tuesday. I started crying. I said, you don't have to pull up with that car and that suitcase and that show called Intervention. They said, we're not doing that. I said, but you don't have to. I've been looking at commercials and it says 1-800 addict or something. You can call anonymously. I wrote it down and I've been trying to call. I didn't know how to ask for help.
Right. Right.
I was in rehab for a month straight. Didn't see my kids, my family, no TV, no phones, nothing. Hardcore inpatient. And then I did a year of outpatient, and was it fun? No. But you know what it was? I was with a bunch of other people who, for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged.
Right.
I felt like I was like, wow. One thing about most of us, we don't feel like we belong.
Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely.
like find the group that you feel like you belong in. So having undiagnosed and untreated trauma and just all sorts of other layers, the artist thing too, wanting to be loved, like, please love me like me, that whole thing. Then, you meet these people and their stories are probably just as crazy and painful as yours, if not more. And there's no judgment because we're all in there for one reason. We're trying to save our lives.
Absolutely.
Our damn lives. And people think, and yet we're still ashamed to talk about going to rehab. We're ashamed to talk about that we're in recovery. And yet it's like, hold on, you're trying to save your life. That's beautiful.
Right.
And that takes guts to say, I need help. That is hard. I couldn't do it. My family came to me and said, we can't watch you struggling anymore. I said, I'll go. Just tell me where to go. Just take care of my kids and my animals.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that.
It's hard, man.
Yeah.
Yes, a Pfeiffer family was struggling, and the family didn't know what to do or say. And that's why I'm out to say we need to help each other find those answers so we can help support each other.
Absolutely. And you were very fortunate that you had a family that really cared and really helped you. Not everybody has that. Like, I'm a child of a functional alcoholic. My dad, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he was the reason why my parents divorced. I had and it was a rough childhood because of that alcoholism. But what he was doing was just mimicking what his dad did, and it would just follow down the line. And what I did, and this is one of those things, and this is kind of it was a moment for me. I said to myself, seeing all the trauma that I went through as a kid, I said, if I ever have a child, I'm going to be the complete opposite. I'm going to break that chain. I'm going to break that cycle. And I did. And I never went down that road. And I have a 15-year-old daughter now, and she's happy, and we're doing well. But again, not everybody has that because they're following in the footsteps of their family. So, but you not only had the family, but you also had the courage to say, help me, and get that, or receive that help and go through it, because there's a lot of courage in that. And I commend you for that. So that's absolutely great.
I hear you. My father was a high functioning alcoholic, and my mother had mental illness. So it's like, and that generation, you didn't talk about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Ever.
Right.
And so it was inevitable that one of us 4 kids was going to end up with something. Right. And it was, and I would say, lucky me. But actually, honestly, lucky me. Because I'm now at an older age with a rebirth.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And a lot of people I know didn't get to this. They went to the light too young, too early. My father never lived, though. He died with his alcoholism. He died of cancer, but he died with his alcoholism. He never achieved his authentic self.
Right.
He never became all of what he could have been. He was an amazing man, but he was an alcoholic. And like you, it was not fun. There's never had to be a child of an alcoholic parent. So I was becoming that because it's what I knew. Like I always say, I was taught by the best, my dad.
Right.
And my family saying back, oh shit, she's becoming dad. Couldn't talk to me. Heck no. Right. Not if you're not ready, it ain't gonna happen. So but like you, I thought, it was in rehab that I thought, oh my God, I did exactly what I promised myself I wouldn't do.
Right.
Unlike you, who stopped it before it started. I had to go through it, and then to be able to now show my boys what it looks like to have been active in my disease, and what recovery looks like.
Exactly.
Take that away, but look at the difference. You now have choices.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I'm here for a soft landing. If God forbid you end up with an addiction or mental health or anything like that, I'm here for a soft landing. Not here to tell you where to go with your life, tell you what to do, or to prevent you from making your own mistakes. But hopefully
Yeah.
Just every day showing you that life actually, sometimes it's really hard and it's really a bitch, but it also can be really beautiful. But that's normies. Normies have those days. Recovery be any different. People are like, well, it's really hard to be in recovery. I'm like, yeah, it is. But I have some normies. Normies are people who don't have an addiction or mental health, who all have shitty days.
It's called life. Yeah.
Yeah. You would die if you take a hit or meth or pot or a drink.
Right.
They just have a shit day.
Yep.
You could die.
That's true.
There's a big difference.
Very
and you
true.
gotta get your big girl pants on or big boy pants on today, or you're gonna relapse. And it's like the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
Here's the beauty of something. Here's another little zinger. You ready, John?
Yeah, let's do it.
When you're in your addiction, you're the identified problem. When you're in recovery, you're the identified possibility.
Wow. Nice.
Every day that I do this, every day I stay sober, I can share that with people and say, if I can do it.
Right.
And I'm a hard head. My dad, I'm a hard head. And I don't like being uncomfortable in pain or crying. I don't like any of that. I like to run from my feelings too.
Right.
But let me tell you, you're not going to die if you lean into your feelings or your trauma or your addiction. But you will die if you give in to your addiction, for sure.
That's right.
That is a great possibility. So there are your choices, right? But you're not going to die from feeling the feelings.
That's right. And sometimes, right.
Maybe an hour, maybe a day, but it will pass. I promise. Right. If not, you need an assessment for mental health issues, and there's things for that too.
Right, exactly. And sometimes we have to go through these challenges in order to be that vessel that can help others. And so it's almost like I grew up in the South Bronx, which is a really rough neighborhood, and I saw a lot of crazy things.
Oh, I bet.
Just like George, we both grew up in the Bronx, and we just I remember saying the same thing. When I grow up, I want to be there for my father. I never met my dad, so I want to be there for my kids. I have 2 kids now, and I'm just there knowing that I'm not going anywhere, and giving them that what you're talking about, giving them that possibility that they can achieve something, special, and I love that. And
what do you want to identify as?
Right.
What do you want to be identified as the problem? Or identified as
right. Exactly.
Because the possibilities are endless.
Right.
If you just address the bigger elephant in the room. But that's going to happen. And I know I make it sound easy, and I promise you the journey is not easy, but it is light on the other end. It is. And my darkest days on this side of recovery are not near the darkest sides when I was actively in my disease. Oh, hell no. Oh, no, thank you. Yeah.
Well, certainly we want to congratulate you on that and just say that that's amazing. It's an awesome, inspirational story. And we love the fact that, you're not only have the story, but you're also in a position right now where you're successful. You look beautiful. You're actually energetic.
I'm not joking. When I found out it was a blue filter, I was like, yeah. One time I was so fuzzy. That my friend goes, dude, I go, a little much. They're like, yeah.
But you have such wonderful energy, and this is what's going to get someone to see, you know what? There's only one choice, right? That I know will bring me to where she is. That's it. Yeah. I know all the other choices where they're going to go.
Right. And support. I could never have done it without support, and I still can't do it without support today. And I think that's something I never learned. My dad was kind of like, I do it myself, North Dakota farm man, cuts himself, he sews himself up. I mean, I don't need help. If you cry, you're weak, that whole thing. And if you fall and something traumatic really happens to you, that is really horrible, but you get up, it doesn't hurt, doesn't cry, and you're a stud. And I was raised with that, and I had to unlearn that. And I still have times where that my default thinking comes in, and that's okay as long as you're aware of it. I mean,
that's the thing. It's awareness.
I'm interested in being a saint. I'm just trying to get it right on any given day and let myself be okay if some days I'm off. Don't collapse.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I did want to just bookend the comment I made earlier about not meeting my dad. My grandparents were there for me, and my grandfather was the greatest guy
Oh,
ever. And so he really took the time, and he became the dad that I didn't have. So I did have a tremendous support, and George had me, so I supported I supported him. I was like his dad, yelling at him.
making fun of me, and
You gotta be tough. You gotta be tough
yeah,
in this
yeah,
world.
yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta take your lumps.
yeah. Definitely took my lumps with you. I tell you that. But you know what? No, but it's true though, because he did kind of take me out of that. He showed me another side of things, of the world, when we started playing music together and all this, because I grew up very sheltered. My family kind of really sheltered me and kept me kind of behind the fence, literally. and
I remember
and
those
remember
days.
that, right? And when John would come over, he'd be like, come on, let's go, let's play ball, let's play music, let's do this, let's do that. And little by little I kind of went out, because I'm like you, Dee, I'm an introvert by nature, and John kind of brought me out there. I mean, even just to do this right
yeah.
now is a big thing for me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
but it's amazing how somebody can have an impact on your life like that.
The wonderful thing about this is that it was George's idea.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that
Yeah,
great?
I was like this.
Yeah.
Interviews with red lips, because I get like, oh, I'm shy. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like, I just want to no. I just want to go watch my show about aliens and UFOs. I don't want to do this. And then I'll put red lips on, and then I'll be like, oh, maybe I'm like,
Oh.
do it. Zoom in, boys. Let's, it's like, right. And then I'll take the lips off and go watch my UFO shows. Yes, I'm very much into paranormal. I'm in New Mexico. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It's gotta,
Nice.
before I came to New Mexico to do Big Sky Thursday night, ABC, 10 o'clock p.m., I was always into paranormal stuff. But now I'm here, and God, have you been to New Mexico?
No, but I've heard. I'm also part of like MUFON and those organizations that get really deep into stuff. So I've seen a lot of things that
Cool.
it's one of those things where George and I have a quick. Let's say it real quick. But when we were kids, we saw a UFO.
Yeah.
No one till this day
I'm
believes us.
jealous.
Yes.
No one believes us.
I
To this
do.
day.
I believe you. I
Thank
told my
you.
son, if I disappear for an hour or two, don't worry about it. Probably got abducted finally, and I'll be back. Out of memory. Hopefully none of those experiments. But at least block that shit out. But I always tell him, I'll be back. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I will be back.
We will come back. We will come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
No.
You didn't get abducted?
No, we did not.
no. We
Not that
just
we
saw
know
it. We
of.
it didn't come down and take us or anything.
No, but we saw it. We were like, "What is that?" And then I pointed it out to George, and George is like, first he's like, "Oh, that's just a balloon," and then he's like, "Wait, what is that?" And he said it, and we both looked at it, and it went.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
saw
went,
it like that.
and we went.
Right?
We screamed in the house.
Yeah,
Everyone said we were crazy.
Yeah, doesn't it like your brain wants to make sense of it?
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah,
needs
we
to
were
put it
trying to
in category.
explain how could that have
Thing,
happened.
bird, right? And then when you can't, you kind of go, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Right.
screamed, and because I don't think we were young, but we weren't like teenagers. Well, I think we were maybe
Yeah.
teenagers,
Maybe teenagers. Yeah.
something. But I mean, I'm older. I'm like 4 years older than you are, so I think we were around that teenage age. But no one believed us till this day.
Well, a lot of people are like, well, I said, when was the last time you actually really looked up in the sky for a long period
For
of
a
time?
long period of time.
A
Yeah,
long, because everyone's got their face in their phones
right.
or doing something. Rarely do you see anyone looking up the sky. Since the day I got here in New Mexico, I'm looking at the sky I sleep on the couch, so I can look out the window and see up into the sky. My bed see the sky.
Nice.
I'm not going back to LA, which I'm leaving 2 weeks until I think I saw one, but I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
I think I did. I think I can do better than that one.
Yeah. Maybe hope for like an abduction. Come on, abduction. Come on, abduction.
I always say I need a vacation anyways. Just come on, man. Go to another
come
universe.
on.
There you go.
So we're approaching almost an hour. We want to thank you so much. Before we let you go, we wanted to one of the things that we talk about here is obviously artists that are out there. You gave an amazing testimonial on what you've actually accomplished and the challenges that you overcame. There are artists right now that are watching this or are going to watch this that might have that fear of not wanting to ask for help. What can they do? And we're not even talking about necessarily just addicted personalities or people. We're talking also just people in general that want to do something and are afraid to take that step because of judgment or whatever they think can happen. Any words for them?
Baby steps. How do you eat an elephant?
Yeah,
One bite at a time.
Yeah. Right.
And when you're scared to even take a bite, I say take a little nibble.
Right.
So, for instance, if asking for help is really scary, you could call anonymously, use a fake name, which is what I was going to do. I didn't want to call, hi, I'm Dedee Pfeiffer. I think I'm an alcoholic. I never said those words in 1,000 years. Even though I was in recovery, it took me a long time to say, I'm an alcoholic. It's hard to say those words. But call anonymously and just say, hey, I don't know what to do. They will walk you through it. If it's mental health, same thing. They'll walk you through it. There are hotlines. You can actually Google that. Now, when it comes to, say, wanting to, say, be a musician or an actor or a painter or something, and you don't know how to start that, again, baby steps. Like, don't go to, like, a big musician university and go into a big class. I would start small. Like, for instance, an actor. Find a little, like an acting class in a community college. Or go audition for funsies in a community play. Offer to go on someone's podcast.
Yeah,
right.
Just like little baby steps towards it.
I did something like that when I got into acting, because I'm short. My wife is 5'10" and I'm not. So, so what I did was I couldn't go into a class. I was way too afraid to confront anyone in a class. So I found an acting coach, just one-on-one. It was me and her for about a year before I set foot in an audition, where I felt like I was comfortable enough. And that for me was just gold.
I think one-on-one is amazing. It's certainly more intimate to do that. Not everyone can afford that. So maybe what you would do is you could go and Google like famous beginner plays. And you could or on your computer and ask your best friend who you trust to read it with you back and forth. Just read it back. I'm going to be
great idea. Yeah.
Or you're going to be Romeo. I'm going to be Juliet or whatever. And we're just going to read it.
That's a great idea.
To read it, you'll start to feel your voice. And because when you first hear yourself, you're just like, oh my God, I sound so sick. I hate listening to my voice. To this day, I rarely look at my work. I look at it real quick just to make sure I'm not making a big ass of myself. And when it comes to my voice, I never listen to my voice. Like after this, I will not watch this. I will blast it on my Instagram. I'm not going to watch it. I don't actually watch myself. I do this for other people, not for myself. I'm not. I'm the last thing I want to hear or see. But I enjoy other people, right? So, and that's okay. Like, but I don't like to look at myself. A lot of actors don't like to look at themselves. A lot of musicians don't like to look at themselves performing, whatever. That's okay. As a matter of fact, I think there's something healthy about that. Because you're really doing it for the right reasons. Again, your purpose. I'm doing it for you, not for me. But you do might want to check in to make sure you're doing something. I'll probably check this interview out, but I'm not going to. Because it's that over. There's nothing I can do. I can't go in and fix it, right? And if I'm doing something wrong, I'll stop getting interviews or I'll get fired from my job. Something will happen, right? Then I'll shift and change. But like little babies, there's just ways you can do it in your privacy of your own home. But it's always good to do it with a best friend and just like, let's read it. And now I'll be Romeo. Now you be Juliet. And just maybe get your feet wet a little bit. And just start to play with it. Or music, My son, there's an app where he was playing the piano on an app or something like that. You can you don't have money to buy an instrument, get like that and try doing that at the piano. They light up, shows you where to put your fingers and stuff. That's just like a way to try it. Or you can rent music and equipment now relatively cheap. I think it's like $15 a month or something.
Yeah. Could also, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, documentaries on behind the scenes of big films that you can watch and kind of get an idea of what that sense is. And I know it's different.
How did Justin Bieber start? Did he start at the Whiskey A Go Go?
No, just on YouTube with a little guitar.
Wasn't he like YouTube or something?
Yeah, with his voice cracking and everything.
Sitting there by himself in his bedroom, doing his little thing. You know,
Look at
but you built up the courage eventually to do that, right?
Yeah.
Little baby
Right.
steps. And then now it's huge. And same thing, I think, with a lot of things. There's just like ways to do them, just kind of lean into them. And
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
and remember, Platoon. Oh, I'm going to date myself. Golden Girls. You know that show?
Oh
Golden
yeah,
Girls?
I used to love that show.
Yeah, we love that show.
Platoon, the movie Platoon. Back in the
Yes,
day.
yes.
Yeah.
10 years it took Platoon to get made because nobody wanted to make it.
Right.
Turned
Yeah.
out to be an Oscar award-winning movie.
Right.
Golden Girls. Nobody wanted to make it.
Right.
Oh my
Nobody
gosh.
cares about if there's anything funny about 5 aging women. No one's going to want to watch it. 10 years they would not stop pitching that thing. These are stories that I think inspire people to hang in there. Because remember, a lot of people were told no more often than yes.
Oh yeah.
You just, if it's something, like I said, if it's your passion, just hang in there and keep fine-tuning it and keep trying. And one day it'll come. And maybe it's singing at your church or singing at a wedding, someone's wedding, which will be in their memory forever. Maybe it's not Whiskey a Go-Go, but it's in some other way just a beautiful thing. You're doing your craft.
Right.
Yeah.
And when it's a true passion, really nothing can really stop it if it's done for the right reasons and sincerely. Doesn't matter the no's. You just keep moving because that passion is that's your lifeline.
And people in the artistry are almost always told no before yes.
Oh
yeah.
Less than 1%.
Definitely.
Less than 1%. That means 99.9% of actors are all out of work and told no.
Right.
And if they all took a personal, then no one would do it. And same thing with gigs. One band's going to book that Saturday night.
You're right.
One band. All the rest can be told no. It does not mean you're not good. It means that only a spot for one band or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just keep plugging.
Yeah, my acting teacher used to say that your statistic is how many no's you got.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That was
and
get a lot.
Turn it around. Don't go in wanting to get hired.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, they can pick that up before you even park your car.
That's right.
Go in because you're excited to show them what you can do.
Right.
Turn that around, right? This is not about you. I just want to show you what I want to do with this role. I want to show you what I think this would be really fun. Yeah. Well, I'm going to show you what I'm doing, this guitar riff or whatever, right? Go in and turn it around into, I want to show you what I can do, not hire me, please.
Right.
So true.
Yeah, that never works.
That's different energy you carry into the room.
You're absolutely.
Completely. Right? And then when you're done with the audition, leave.
Yeah.
And only be upset, not because you didn't get it, but only be upset because maybe you didn't do your 100%. You didn't do everything you could do.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you can get upset. Just be like, okay, now what was it? Is it that I ate a whole burger before I went in there and I got indigestion? Not a good idea. That's probably what. Or whatever. What can you do differently the next time to be 150%?
Correct.
Because the rest is up to politics and the universe, and God knows why people get what they get.
Right.
Honestly, because a lot of talented people are walking around unemployed. I'm sorry, they are. I mean, unemployed meaning not doing
that.
They like,
Right. Wow. Dedee, thank you so much. This has been like so great. I feel like we scratched the surface of what we could have covered.
Well, have me back after Big Sky.
Absolutely.
Because we got some good stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Everybody watch Big Sky. Was it Thursday nights, right?
Thursday nights, ABC, 10 p.m.
ABC, 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll be promoting that as well as this episode. Thank you so much, Dedee, for being on the show. We appreciate you so much, and we'll definitely have you back. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, guys. Have a beautiful evening.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
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 Woo.
Wow. So much information, so much energy. I love it.
And just the fact that she went through like a difficult period and was able to overcome that. Yes. You know how inspirational that is to other people?
Absolutely. It's
that is the thing. That's why we do this story.
Yeah, this is it. This is what it's all about.
Oof. All right. Want to thank you all for watching. We appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. And we will see you again next week. Where we have a comedian, Dusty Slade, is going to be on the show. He's on Netflix right now. You can check him out. And we will see you next week at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Counterparts. For George Batista and John Henry Soto, have a wonderful night. And as always, peace.